Hi, my name is Aoife Smith and I am the coordinator of the Counselling Service here in the Irish Kidney Association. We provide a free, confidential counselling service for all those diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease, your family and carers. Kidney disease, dialysis and transplantation can be very distressing physically, mentally and emotionally. Physically, we can experience fatigue and decreased levels of energy. Treatments can impact on our time and our quality of life, and sometimes on how we view our bodies. Mentally, we have to make adjustments to our lifestyle, maybe to our jobs and our social lives, and sometimes to our food and fluid intakes, which emotionally can be all very overwhelming. There is no right or wrong way to feel, and sometimes it can take a long time to get used to life as a kidney patient. But there are many services that you can access through the Irish Kidney Association. Our counselling service is a national service. So no matter where you live around the country, we can provide counselling. I provide counselling for patients and their families in Donor House, which is situated in Park West. And I have a panel of accredited psychotherapists who have renal knowledge, experience of working with renal patients, working around the country to provide a service that is best suited to meet your needs. Throughout this video, I'm going to briefly talk about some of the common emotional reactions to a diagnosis of chronic kidney disease, the impact that it might have on you and your family, before explaining how to access the counselling service that is available to you. People often use different words when they are first told that their kidneys are failing and that they will need dialysis. Some describe it as shock, others as a loss, a blow or a bolt out of the blue. Whichever word or phrase is used, it indicates an emotional reaction to the unexpected news. It can be helpful to remember that there is always an emotional reaction to a diagnosis of a chronic health condition, and that each person will have a different reaction because each one of us are different in terms of our perceptions, in terms of our thoughts and our feelings and our experiences. So while we are all different, there are some common emotional responses, such as anger, denial, and fear to a diagnosis of chronic kidney failure. Denial is when a person is unable to believe or finds it difficult to acknowledge that something is true. It is one of the most commonly used defense mechanisms, and it is our body's natural way to pace an overwhelming feeling. A defense mechanism is an unconscious psychological response to protect you from difficult emotions. Instead of becoming completely overwhelmed with the situation that we are in, we try to deny it or try not to accept the reality of it. Your thoughts might turn to, this is not happening to me. I can't be sick. I was fine yesterday. I didn't need dialysis last week. Why would I need it this week? Or the doctors have to be wrong. We try to change the actual reality into a preferred state of reality. And while that might be helpful short term to allow ourselves to adjust to the diagnosis, getting stuck in denial can be risky. Because if you're in denial about your condition, you may not take the steps that are necessary to get the right treatment. Fear is a very common reaction which shows up in many different ways. Fear that I'm going to die, loss of control, fear of loss of independence, fear of not knowing how everything's going to work out, and how dialysis and kidney disease will impact your life. It can feel paralysing as you move from what is known and certain in your life to what is unknown and uncertain, bringing a sense of powerlessness, making it hard to know where to turn or what to do. And while these fears are common and understandable, it is important to talk to your healthcare team so that a plan can be put in place to address any fears you might have and answer any questions that might help to give you a sense of reassurance. Anger is another very common emotion. Most of the time, it is viewed as a negative. But anger is a normal, common reaction to loss of health and having your life changed unexpectedly for most. We often question why me, and we can look for someone or something to blame. We can blame our bodies for letting us down, the illness, behaviours, treatments, and the limitations they might impose. If you have a strong faith, you could even be angry with God. The list might go on. However, anger can be both positive and negative. And anger in its positive form allows you to harness some good energy that allows you to respond in a healthy way to your diagnosis. Maybe putting that energy into drive to finding out as much as you can about kidney disease and understanding how you can make a difference to your health care. Not allowing the kidney disease to become you and giving you energy to feel stronger. But in its negative form, it can be very destructive. It can isolate and alienate those nearest and dearest to you, who we will need at this time. So do try to remember, it's perfectly okay to feel angry. Your life has changed unexpectedly for most. But it's what you do with that anger is what's important. For some patients, the impact of living with chronic renal failure or transplantation can trigger more serious emotional disorders, most commonly depression and anxiety. Depression affects how we think, feel, and behave. It's more than just feeling down in the dumps. Feelings of isolation, loss of interest in daily lives, sadness, hopelessness, or helplessness can take over our thoughts, leading to potentially damaging behaviour, such as skipping medication, dialysis, or hospital appointments. It can be very easy to overlook symptoms of depression in someone with a chronic illness because it's natural and common to feel sad when you're coping with a lifelong illness. The thoughts of needing dialysis indefinitely or waiting on a list for transplantation can leave you feeling depressed, but usually people do adjust and they do feel better over time, and the initial feelings of depression decrease as patients become more stable and understand chronic kidney disease. However, if it becomes long-term or overwhelming, or if you experience any suicidal thoughts, expert help may be needed. So please do discuss that with your healthcare team. And remember, depression can be treated. Anxiety occurs in everyday life. It's the feeling of butterflies in your stomach when you meet someone new, or the pounding in your heart before you give a presentation in work. It's a normal body response. It's also our body's natural response to danger or feeling threatened or under pressure. Its function is to increase our ability to respond to that danger and to try and keep us safe. As a kidney patient, you are faced with new and challenging concerns about your health and treatment options which may cause anxiety. Anxiety can show up as an emotional symptom, like having trouble concentrating, feeling tense, jumpy, irritable, restless. And it can also show up in physical symptoms like your heart racing, sweating, shortness of breath, headaches, or not being able to sleep. Anxiety is a common response to chronic illness, and research has shown that severe and ongoing threat can play a big role in the development of anxiety disorders. Persistent, unpleasant feelings of uneasiness, worry, and apprehension can be very distressing. But like depression, feelings of anxiety usually do decrease over time as you and your family adjust to the new dialysis, treatments and regimes, and you connect with other people's experiencing, gaining more knowledge and understanding of your illness. But again, if it does develop into a persistent feeling or you start to experience panic attacks, it is important for you to seek the medical advice or contact ourselves for some counselling. The emotional support and assistance from your family members with the management of day-to-day treatment is a really important aspect of the quality of life of a kidney patient. A diagnosis of kidney failure not only affects the person diagnosed, but it impacts the entire family. Kidney disease and dialysis create a change in the dynamic within the family. And often one family member will find themselves in a new and unexpected role as a carer. So like you having to adjust to life as a kidney patient, they too will experience similar emotions such as anger, sadness, and fear. And it is important to allow them time and space to adjust. It is important to keep communication open and to be honest so that you can create a safe space to express your feelings. It can be very useful for family members to attend clinic appointments or dialysis treatments so they can get involved and get a better understanding of what you might be going through. Your family will feel better and more relaxed if they have information and can be involved in your healthcare. For those of you who have younger children, as an ill parent, it can be a very difficult conversation. You may feel anxious to talk about your illness, or you may want to protect them by not discussing it. But children pick up on changes very easily, and they may feel more upset or fearful if they don't know the truth, thinking something might be worse than it actually is. Open communication with children to explain in a way that they might understand will really help them to handle the situation. Like any of us, we feel better when we help, so involving them in some small way of your healthcare will really help them to adjust. And that's really important if you choose home hemodialysis, where the dialysis machines, equipment and boxes will become a part of normal home life. This can all be quite daunting, and that is why within the Irish Kidney Association, our goal is to meet the needs of you, the patient, your family, and your carers. If you do need that extra support to adjust to your diagnosis or your treatments, we are here for you. Counselling can offer a safe space to explore the many different emotions that may arise with a diagnosis. You can discuss any concerns or worries that you might have, and it can be helpful to identify factors that affect how people cope with living with a chronic health condition. It's an opportunity to look at behaviours that will help as part of a new lifestyle change of self-care, working on skills, awareness and knowledge to enable you to take more control and feel stronger in your healthcare. Accessing the counselling service is easy. You can phone the main number at the Irish Kidney Association and ask for me, or it might give you an option to press 2 for the counselling service, and then I will guide you from there. If it is easier for you, you can ask your doctor or nurse to contact me, and I will contact you, giving you the details of a counsellor, and then you can give them a call to make an appointment that best suits you both. So while this may feel very overwhelming and challenging, there will come a time that you and your family adjust to living with kidney disease. With the right support from your healthcare team, your family and friends, or a counsellor if it's needed, your emotions will begin to stabilise, and you will start to integrate your illness into your life and come to the realisation that while it may have to be a normal part of life, you can still grow and experience joy. This is not simply being okay with being ill. It is coming to terms and adjusting to living with kidney disease without making it a driver of your life. It's you finding ways to manage and cope with your illness. Learning to live with an illness is a process that does evolve over time. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I hope it has helped you to show that you are not alone in your feelings and that there are resources to help you adapt to a life with end-stage kidney disease and support for the challenges it may present. Thank you.